Ms. Williamson, what's your response on the Flint water crisis?
My response on the Flint water crisis is that Flint is just the tip of the iceberg. I was recently in Denmark, South Carolina, where there is a lot of talk about it being the next Flint. We have an administration that has gutted the Clean Water Act. We have communities, particularly communities of color and disadvantaged communities all over this country who are suffering from environmental injustice. I assure you, I lived in Grosse Pointe. What happened in Flint would not have happened in Grosse Pointe. This is part of the dark underbelly of American society. The racism, the bigotry, and the entire conversation that we're having here tonight, if you think any of this wonkiness is going to deal with this dark psychic force of the collectivized hatred that this president is bringing up in this country, then I'm afraid that the Democrats are going to see some very dark days. We need to say it like it is. It's bigger than Flint. It's all over this country. It's particularly people of color. It's particularly people who do not have the money to fight back. And if the Democrats don't start saying it, then why would those people feel that they're there for us? And if those people don't feel it, they won't vote for us. And Donald Trump will win.
Thank you very much, Ms. Williamson.
When we run on things that are workable, not fairy tale economics. Look at the story of Detroit, this amazing city that we're in. This city is turning around because the government and the private sector are working well together. That has to be our model going forward. We need to encourage collaboration between the government, the private sector, and the nonprofit sector, and focus on those kitchen table, pocketbook issues that matter to hardworking Americans. Building infrastructure, creating jobs, improving their pay, creating universal health care, lowering drug prices. We can do it.
You know, I don't understand why anybody goes to all the trouble of running for president of the United States just to talk about what we really can't do and shouldn't fight for. Biggest problem in Washington is corruption. It is giant corporations that have taken our government and that are holding it by the throat. And we need to have the courage to fight back against that. And until we're ready to do that, it's just more of the same. Well, I'm ready to get in this fight. I'm ready to win this
Thank you, Senator. Medicare for All is comprehensive and covers all health care needs for senior citizens. It will finally include dental care, hearing aids, and eyeglasses. Second of all, I do know, I wrote the damn bill. And second of all,
good evening, comrades. Just wanted to give a little post-debate roundup. I didn't think I'd be doing this at all. It's kind of weird. I didn't think this would be a thing that I would do because I don't know. Like I'm pretty worn out on the debates. I saw Fasih Shakur, Bernie Sanders' campaign manager, the other night it was yesterday. He was on CNN and he said, debates make people dumber. We're not going to learn anything, but we're prepared to do this. And I'm totally in his camp of, yes, this is performative. And it completely makes people dumber. But I cannot hold in my giddiness of what I saw last night, which would be a couple minutes ago. But y'all will probably get this during drive time, so it'll be the next day, obviously. What we did see was if we were going to rank them like this was a horse race, the debate contenders, we would say third place, I would say, honestly, Bernie Sanders. And you know I'm the Berniest bro who ever broed. That is my title. That is my claim to fame. I'm wearing a 2016 Bernie t-shirt as I speak to you. Second place with the most zingers of "This is not funny," of private insurance is used to suck money away from you, and I don't know why you're running for president of the Democratic Party telling people what you can't do. Would be yes queen, the real queen, not the fake imposter queen of, a Hillary Clinton or a Kamala Harris, but the real slay queen of the Midwest, Elizabeth Warren. She was amazing. She was dynamic. She was folksy. She was punchy. Really, she was everything positive I have to say about Bernie 2.0, to where he's aggressive, where he's leaned into being a curmudgeon-y old man. As Chapo Trap House would put it, your only good grandparent who tells it to you like it is. She was the female that. And she was like a Bernie clone up there, which I'll take all the populism I can get. And, you know, if this is going to be her track of what I saw on stage, and maybe is wishful thinking, you know, hit me up on email at goodmorningcomrade.com, contact at goodmorningcomrade.com. Actually, if you did email me at goodmorningcomrade.com, that would get to me as well. But hit me up at contact. That way I check that more. Check contact at goodmorningcomrade.com. The other email is just for business stuff. Also, check us out, honestly, wherever you listen to podcasts. And I'm sorry, I should have introduced myself. This is Robert. We've been in existence here at Good Morning Comrade for about 2 months. We're experiencing exponential growth. We are new favorite leftist, socialist, communist adjacent podcast. You can check us out on Twitter at Comrade Morning. Again, rate, like, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, especially iTunes. That really helps us out. And if you really, really so feel inclined, you can join our Patreon backers and monetarily help us at Patreon. Just go to patreon.com and search Good Morning Comrade, and you'll find us there. Any amount of support helps. You're going to get bonus stuff like our newsletter, bonus content, the whole 9 yards. Our love. I want to have something monetary pretty soon. I was thinking, like, because we're all in New Orleans, I was thinking koozies would be a good one because we like to drink here in New Orleans. Maybe get some branded Good Morning Comrade koozies and send that out to our Patreon backers. I would really like that. But yeah, I just slid into Elizabeth Warren's DMs and slid her $6. Because she had such a great debate performance and said exactly what I needed to hear out of a Democratic candidate. That's on top of, I slid Bernie, I think, $6 as well. And then I also do the $27 a month support tier for Bernie. So if you give to the podcast through Patreon, you're indirectly giving to Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, so you can thank yourself for that. I personally have talked a lot of trash about Elizabeth Warren, and I don't necessarily want to apologize. The things I said about her, I think, are still accurate, to where if she did win the nomination, that private industry would use her position as her personal positions as a reformer of capitalism to get her to slow walk everything that she talked about tonight, being a supporter of Medicare for all, Bernie's plan of Medicare for all, for one. And also that she hasn't sworn off taking corporate money in the general election. If she did make it to the general election, I'm still very weary about that. But I'll tell you what, she's on the right track. She's on the correct populist track. Whoever has gotten into her ear and said that we need to ally ourselves with Bernie Sanders and let the chips fall where they may, because that's what I saw on that stage in Detroit last night, was an alliance with Sanders, which that's what I've wanted all along. So that way, whatever way this thing goes, they can dump each other's delegates on each other and then overcome the DNC, because that's what they're going to be fighting against, is the actual Democratic Party, and win the nomination and not let anybody take it from them. So I would say Bernie in third place, Bernie being Bernie, Bernie, I don't want to say he's hit his ceiling, just like Warren, has a ceiling. I would just say, like, I don't expect less from Bernie. Bernie was amazing. He's my candidate of choice. So that's the kind of performance I expect out of him. If not more so. His edginess, his punchiness, I wrote the damn bill, was amazing. The way that he did not play softball with these people was amazing. That's how he's going to beat Trump. If Elizabeth Warren keeps up this tact, that's how she will beat Trump. But the winner of the debate, and the winner just by, they had, the highest ceiling, has to be Queen Mother, Witch, Glinda the Good Witch, Elizabeth Warren, Marianne Williamson. Marianne Williamson was a damn dynamo. I mean, the thing she said about, I've heard her when she schooled Dave Rubin about reparations. That's one thing to do it on an idiot alt-writer's, intellectual dark web, whatever the fuck that is. That's one thing to do it on an idiot show, but to stand on a debate stage and give a concise, educated plan of how she would enact reparations was beautiful. It was moving. It was fantastic. The idea that she talked about, what are the root causes of hardships in this country? Racism, racial division, mental health. The way that she understood that you can't just stand on a stage like the rest of these Republican lights were doing and say Donald Trump is a bad poopy man and he's got to go. You have to give people reasons to vote. I mean, you don't hear that from anyone besides Warren and Bernie, is that you actually have to give people reasons to go out and vote. That was an amazing. I mean, she is the true dark horse in this campaign. And then to sit here, and I watch her get interviewed by Anderson Cooper, and Anderson Cooper gave her the old, when you're running from behind. Well, my mic fell a little bit. That's all right. Just put it back in the mic thing. Gave her the whole, throwing shade, like, you're not going to win this thing anyway, so who do you support? And first of all, she gave the answer, that, well, who supports me because I'm in this thing to win, which that's the answer. And then, she looked him dead in the eye and said, that's who I support. I support Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. Just, if we could get a Voltron, a trifecta of Bernie and Warren, doing the politics game, which they have to do, and then the outsider of Marianne Williamson putting these Republican lights to task. This is kind of my dream scenario. This is when Elizabeth Warren, this is my dream fantasy, because Elizabeth Warren said it right. You heard the clip I played when she said, I don't understand why you take all this time investing in running for the presidency, telling people what they're not going to do, telling people what you're not going to do. And she's 100% right. That is the path that Clinton took, and that is why we have Trump. 100%. So I have a slight apology for Elizabeth Warren, a attaboy for Bernie, and a slay queen slay for Marianne Williamson. She's something else. She really is. You know what? And I was only halfway joking. I was talking to my fiance. I was like, she's got that whole Department of Peace meme. And I said, if I was running for president and actually got the nomination, I would install her as the peace star, the Secretary of Peace, whatever you want to call it, because we need this. Like, we need somebody who's just not going to crunch the numbers, somebody who's going to go. And Bernie and Warren, again, the only ones doing this, saying this is morally, and this is morally something, a proposal. Take any proposal you can think of: Medicare for all, job guarantee, the Green New Deal, anything you can think of that would benefit society. And we need somebody to push for it and say, this is a policy that would benefit society, and this is why. This is something that would benefit our culture. This is something that would heal racial divide. This is something that would give young people a path besides the Doomer track where they go shoot up a fucking garlic festival. And I've come up with this idea. Now it's time for the rest of you to run the numbers on how it's going to work. I honestly, the Department of Peace is a completely valid position. So I just wanted to leave you guys with that. This is just going to be a quick, I had other stuff I want to talk about, but I just don't even want to bum y'all out today. I don't even want to get angry. I don't want to bum it out. I just want to sit here and ride this high for a little bit. And I hope, the people I watched the debate with tonight were like, well, who's going to drop out? Who's going to drop out? Like, who's the next one to drop? Is it Delaney? I was like, I hope none of them fucking drop out. I want them all to stand because they make every one of these centrist, good for nothing, do nothing, Republican lights. What they do is they make it so they just make perfect foils, perfect punching bags for Bernie and Warren. And hell, even Marianne Williamson. They make Marianne Williamson look like legit presidential material because of how bad they are. I had somebody on Twitter say that she's a crackpot, she's a nut, which yeah, she kind of is. She's a nut as much as the nutty old lady who lives on your block who means well. I like her. I like her better than any of those people who stood on that stage tonight. The nutty old lady who I have on my block. And somebody said she had no business being on that stage. And I said, you know what? We'd have to, if you took all the candidates who have qualified for the Democratic primary, we'd have to go at least 15, 16, hell, even 20 down in the have no business being on the stage department before we got to Marianne Williamson. She's fine. Leave her alone. And that's all I got for you this morning. I hope your drive time goes well. That's when most of y'all listen anyway. You guys have a good day selling your labor. We'll catch you again with not a live episode, but with a full episode on Thursday, and then back to Thursday. So it's Tuesday, Thursday, and little surprise episodes like this whenever I feel like it. Thank you guys so much. Support us on Patreon. Search Good Morning Comrade on Patreon. Like us wherever you like us, subscribe, rate wherever you listen to podcasts, especially Apple. Go to goodmorningcomrade.com and subscribe to our newsletter. Check us out on Twitter, Comrade Morning. Check us out on Facebook. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you Thursday with part 2 of the Kelly Meyer interview, and I hope you guys like that yesterday. See you then.